It's set to default again. Damn it. What is it supposed to be?
Does it do that when you restart sometimes, or?
Please be audio codec.
I'm in Max. You are listening to Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Hi. Thank you for joining us for Season 20, Episode 1 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Gina.
And I'm Stark.
Stork.
And
Here we are.
Yeah.
Episode
got
Season 20.
Season 20.
Season 20.
we've got
Wow.
3 weeks until Strategicon, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pre-reg tomorrow.
Right. I still
Noon.
I'll probably just run all
Good games.
did you switch the video over?
No.
Thanks, Master Vidar.
Yeah.
The
Thanks.
star Vidar.
I know. I was even saying too. All ready to transition.
Yep, and you were busy.
Super good.
Strategicon,
I know, I'm trying to get my phone.
September 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, the LAX Hilton Hotel. We'll be there Saturday night, 8 p.m. We're doing our live podcast as we are wont to do. I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. In this episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast, Out of Print GM asks, running a villain game for kids? Mr. Manowar writes in about our divisive hobby. Abacus from Missouri writes in about hit point fudging, which was last week? Was it last week we talked about hit point fudging? Or was it the week
We're
before?
just fudging.
But it was specifically like...
Yeah.
It would have been last week.
I think so.
'Cause I think
it
the
was.
week before were.
And Dave from Florida sends us a GM success story. But first, if you'd like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com.
How are we doing on emails?
We got plenty.
Okay.
Cool.
We're on the social medias. We're on the tweeters, happyjacksrpg, all one word, and the Instagrams, happyjacksrpg, all one word. Also, if you'd like to watch the show live, it's on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific time, happyjacks.org/live, and you can get all of the links and little various things and say hello to the chat room. Hi, chat room. It's nice to see you there.
It's a live chat room.
And next Friday, Dave will be here, and he may bring someone with him. And we're going to attempt to Skype in live from Gen Con.
That's right, you and Bill. Bill's flying in from across the pond, and you're flying in from here.
And we're going to attempt it. We'll see how well it works.
Yeah, how well the hotel internet is, all that stuff. There's a lot of variables.
We're at an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And might have better. And it's far away from the.
A lot of variables.
So who knows? Who knows what will happen? And the tech support guy for Happy Jacks won't be here.
Right.
So, and if there's a trouble communicating with them over Skype, they're fucked.
We'll just hold their phone up to the
Right.
We'll just set this little camera up with your phone, and you guys can talk that way.
Yeah, FaceTime. I'll put FaceTime in front of the camera.
I thought about buying a burner phone and hardwiring it into the board as well, so you could just have phone calls come in.
Why not?
Could do that.
Wow. That'd be cool.
All right. Help with villains.
Cool.
With a villains game from Out of Print GM. Greetings once again from sun-drenched Yorkshire. Yep, it's raining again. Out of Print GM writing once again in need of a little help. Last year I wrote on how I was running a game for 2 children of one of my regular players and oldest friend, using Savage Worlds Fantasy, and it was fun. The kids loved it, and they want to play more.
Yay!
But they want me to run a supervillains game using Savage Worlds. Now, I have a very dark and gallows sense of humor, and what I would do and have done in the past for a villains game is not suitable subject matter for children aged 11 and 13. I don't want to run the same plot thread every game session, so any ideas you could offer up? I have kept this one as short as possible. Long life, good health. Simon, Out of Print GM on the forum.
I have the perfect solution for you.
Yeah.
Savage Worlds is the perfect solution.
Well, he knows
for you.
that. He's going to run
Yeah.
into Savage Worlds.
Yeah, but
he-
they have a specific thing called necessary evil.
Necessary evil.
Which is where the supervillains take over the world.
Well,
And you-
there's an alien invasion,
Yes.
and all the superheroes are killed, and the only thing left are villains.
Yes.
Right.
And that's all. And the plot line that in that book, you can adapt to anything you want. You can just use whole cloth, take what they've set up in that book, that premise, and run your game there.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense.
Is that too dark for kids?
Well,
I'm
it depends
worried.
it depends on the villains you're making. you
I'm
know?
worried about kids.
Yeah,
I mean,
necessarily.
if kids are doing it by themselves,
Yeah.
like a bunch of teenage kids get together, we're going to play a role-playing game. We want to all play chaotic evil people. Okay, they go at it. But once you put an adult in there, and
Yeah.
we as kids did all kinds of screwed up shit
Yeah, yeah.
in role-playing games,
Oh, yeah.
especially when we were teenagers.
Oh, yeah. It's awful.
But if there's an adult there and it's happening, is that like condoning? You know
don't
what I'm
know.
saying? You know what I'm saying?
I
mean,
do-
I know my daughter goes to school and cusses and does all that stuff, but she doesn't do it around me. Because
Yes, but again, it depends on the villains that you're going to make, and it depends on the villains
Well-
that they're going to make. I mean, you can make super villains that aren't, or villains that aren't necessarily sadistic or
Why can't they
cruel.
make their supervillains?
Exactly. Well, I figured they would, but he still has to make NPCs, or which I guess would be heroes.
well, the heroes are all dead.
True,
Right.
but they could get the flavor of what he's going to make from their lead. So they
Sure.
can either create somebody from scratch or a supervillain from their favorite cartoon or comic book or movie or whatever, and then you kind of just take your cue from there.
Right. And I think that would be a good starting point for a kid's supervillain game because of the fact that in that specific setting, they aren't fighting superheroes. And they aren't.
Yeah.
The idea is they're not going out committing their super crimes as they normally would, and then they have to fight
It-
to thwart their heroes
Yeah.
from thwarting
Right.
them.
It's an
They
actual,
wanna- they
really
wanna
interesting
play-
setting.
They
There's-
want to play Suicide Squad.
Right.
yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And that's kind of necessary evil. Really, you can do that in that. It's actually it's all pretty.
That's
pretty
what
much
it
set
is.
up,
And
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
there's a big horrible thing. In this case, it's an alien invasion, and you're all that's left that's protecting the planet. You want to protect it?
If you're worried about making or that your that gallows humor stuff coming out, do what I used to do in Champions, which is you basically copy
Yeah.
villains and that you from comic books, right? And you would just rename them basically. So if you really wanted to, you can make Syndrome from The Incredibles as one of your villains.
Right.
You can have Gru as one of your
Well,
villains.
that's what I wonder too.
or Mastermind. Or,
with that
Megamind.
particular age, if they're already kind of thinking about who they want to play, like that they want to be the Joker, or they want to be
Right.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that you're going to be surprised at how off the rails they may
yeah,
go.
I think so too.
And you may have to withhold your judgment because they're just having fun and they don't understand. You know, they know the Joker tortures people, so they're going to try. Maybe I'm just making this up. They maybe try to torture somebody. You, from your adult perspective, might be horrified, but they don't understand because it's just sort of part of what villains would do.
I think you could use too the Savage World Supers books. Because I'm sure they've got, I haven't looked at it for a while, but they must have templates for evil dudes also. But like
Might.
you
Well, there's
creating,
certainly a necessary evil.
yeah, but you creating your own super villain from scratch anyway. And
The villains and heroes are the same. How you build them is basically the same.
Exactly.
Right.
But necessary evil gives you that setting to kind of play around in.
Yeah, I guess in Savage Worlds, yes, because there's only so many powers.
Right.
But I remember when I ran a Champions game, first Champions game I ran, and I had come up with a bunch of supervillains and the city that everything took place in. And all the players showed up and they started making their characters, and there's like, hey, we want to make villains instead. So they all made villains. So all of my villains now suddenly are all heroes. But I did it in hero. So they've all got killing attacks. They're not like, blast powers that do normal damage. They do killing damage, which is very deadly in hero, especially at that level. So it made for a strange game.
Yeah, no,
in
those-
fact, someone commented on the fact like, oh yeah, all the Stu's heroes have killing attacks.
Supers in hero or GURPS would be awesome. But
Yeah.
not with, what is it, 11 and 13-year-olds? Probably not.
No, and it's good to keep them in the same system. It's,
By the way, we got a drink from Hazel Mudslide because it's Hazel Mudslide's birthday in 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah, so mountain
the-
time.
The most appropriate amount of hours away
Exactly.
from your birthday.
Ooh. Yeah.
To your birthday.
Drink. Happy birthday.
That is a good IPA.
It is.
It is.
It's quite delicious. Wolf Pup Session IPA, Golden Road.
So, yeah, I think it's the only thing I worry about is them going too far.
The kids?
Yeah, because that's.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me would be kind of a weird thing. Being the adult there.
I think you have to make it more cartoon violence too. Like when Harley
Yeah.
hits somebody with a bat.
Yep.
You as an adult really want to play out the bleeding and screaming and stuff, but I don't think that's the game you really want to play because that really brings it.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. They are going to want to play that game.
Well, maybe.
and it's
Yeah.
like, should you? with
Yeah, that's
kids?
a good point where you either have to. No, I think you're absolutely right, and you either set up at the beginning that, hey, this is in this world, the violence we commit does not result in, and it's like boffer hits or something,
Right, yeah.
Or that you play like Masks, where it's these are teen supers that are. It's not shoot to kill, or it's like you're trying to capture and bring in, or
Right.
stun, or knock them out, or
Well, that's what I'm saying. Or just underplay that.
Yeah.
So Harley starts hitting somebody with a bat
Yep.
instead of what I would do with everybody's like, there's blood flying everywhere. You can't see. He's screaming at the top of his lungs. He says things like, "Ow, you wench! I'm coming after you now!"
Right.
And ow, and all right, you knock him unconscious. Or okay, how many points? Okay, he's down. And just gloss over the gory details of everything.
Right.
Because I don't think they really want to know. I don't think you want to do it for them.
I think they do want to.
Well, they do. They want to hit somebody with a baseball bat, but they don't want to hear about the blood spattering all over the walls.
I think it's been a long time
Since I was a
too long
13-year-old?
since you were a 13-year-old boy.
Fair enough. If that's where they're going, then you can do that. But I would
don't
be
think-
careful. I think I would hedge. I mean, even in comic
You
books,
should, yes. I agree.
even in comic books, they hit somebody, and they very rarely show people's teeth flying out of their mouth. They just,
Right.
Captain America punches somebody and they go down, and that's it.
Right.
You don't see teeth. You don't see the eye, black eyes. You don't see.
Yeah, it's not like what's his name getting walloped with a baseball bat in Walking Dead.
Well, okay. It's the difference.
Did you see that?
yeah,
No.
Oh.
That's why I stopped watching, even though I knew because I
Man.
read the comic books. But I'm like,
I bet the makeup artist had a
No.
field day
No,
doing that.
not gonna watch.
With the eyeball.
yeah,
See,
Man.
to me, it'd be the difference between Reservoir Dogs
Yeah.
and Big Trouble in Little China.
Right.
All right, so they both have violence, but
Yeah.
one of them is so hyper real, and the
Well-
other one is much more.
they were
Video game.
Yeah,
Right.
They were saying
Arcade video
in
game.
the chat room to frame it like a comic book.
Yep.
And just make sure you try to keep it PG-13.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if they spin off the rails, that's fine. That might make for some interesting role playing games. Like you killed a guy, right? So now the police are after you, or something, or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, you may have to gauge it with what they tend to do. And I think by you setting the tone, they'll
I think so too.
The other
Play with
possibility is you could, instead of having a necessary evil thing where all of the superheroes are gone, there's whatever town you're in, there is a superhero, and he's a douchebag.
Yeah.
He's like
Yeah.
Captain Amazing from
Yeah. Mystery Men.
Mystery Men.
Yeah.
Was it Greg Kinnear?
Yeah.
Greg Kinnear. And he's got like the Pepsi
Corporate
emblem over here, and he's got
sponsors.
sponsorships all over, and he comes in, and he's got a publicist that follows him everywhere, and
Yep.
Yep.
and and maybe he is kind of a badass, but he's also really into himself. So when he captures you, maybe he turns to the camera to mug and gives you an
Yes.
opening to be able to
Yeah.
pop him in the face and get away. So I mean,
That's
you
actually
could,
a really funny
You could
idea.
really
Yeah.
play it that way and have the heroes kind of be the maybe
Where they've been-
kind of the semi bad guys themselves.
Because they've been taken over by like corporate branding,
Right,
and
right.
like they all have their own reality shows, and so that you just want to
yeah,
mock them.
you could have a different hero every week, and one
Yeah.
of them has a reality crew reality show crew following him around.
Yep.
You know, and he has
Oh, totally.
a train wreck of a
Yeah.
family that, you know, he has to go and rescue all the time, and
Yeah.
yeah, he could. That could be really funny.
Batman breaks and enters all the time. He
That would
beats
be
people up
pretty
all the
funny.
time. Does he get in trouble? No! I break in, I hit the security guard, I'm in jail. What the hell? He breaks in, beats up a bunch of people, he's fine. I don't
No,
get
that'd be
it.
awesome.
He's a hero.
Yeah. That'd be
I think that'd be kind of fun.
I think that'd be fun too.
Or maybe it's the Tick.
Yeah.
Maybe the superhero in town is the Tick, and he's insane, nigh invincible, and not very attentive. And you can get away.
Yeah.
You can maybe a lot of doing your villainous stuff is more about trying to keep him, the superhero who's trying to thwart you, distracted.
So that he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
Don't
almost-
stop helping.
Right.
There's also Megamind, too, where the villain, after he gets rid of his arch nemesis now, is like, well, I've got nothing better to do. And then somebody else worse takes over, so now he becomes the hero.
Right. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can have a worse villain come in.
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing their petty larceny and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and then someone comes in to actually destroy the city.
Yes.
That could be kind of fun too.
No, I think so too.
But if you set it in that kind of tone, as opposed to just, you know, instead of making them all Wolverine or, you know, where they slice and dice and kill and blood, and I think it's a tone thing. It's making that setting. I have a feeling you can make it kind of wacky too.
Yeah, and I
think
do
they might
think
dig that.
he's talking about maybe not running an overarching plot thread every game. So that would be that sort of like episode of the week or
The hero of the week,
Yeah, or
or-
this in this comic book issue sort of. This is
Yeah.
what you got to do.
I think that could work.
Yeah.
I think that works
Yeah,
pretty
go
well.
watch Megamind and just copy all of that. Like where the
Megamine's pretty fantastic too.
yeah, it is. Where the villains actually become the heroes.
Isn't there is a
Cool.
like a retired superhero?
Yeah. Well, in Megamind,
Don't spoil it. I think isn't there?
I've never seen Megamind.
sort of.
Okay.
Yes. Also, you know, Despicable Me is another great spin on supervillains.
Oh,
with,
yeah, that's
you know,
true,
with
yeah.
Gru.
And the other guy with the pants that are high.
Yeah. Well, that's Drew, and then there's three of them now.
Wasn't the original was
The
the guy
original-
with the glasses, right? Wasn't the guy with the glasses in the original? I got them mixed up now.
Yeah, I do too. I get Megamind and Despicable Me mixed up. Despicable Me has the minions.
Alcoholic butterbeer.
Where's that?
I've
They're
never
talking about it in the chat room.
Do they have that at the Harry Potter World?
They
I know they have
should.
butterbeer, but I don't know if it's alcohol.
You can bring a flask. You can make it alcoholic
You bet
butterbeer.
you
Right?
could.
I
What does
bet-
butterbeer taste like?
I don't know, but I bet it's good
know.
with bourbon
Yeah, I wonder if it's like butterscotch.
I think that it has
or like hot buttered rum,
kind of
Yeah.
hot toddy, maybe, yeah.
or maybe like a rum.
Just even
Maybe
the
better with
Oh.
rum.
butter beer just sounds great.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
So, who played what this week?
Oh,
Oh, thank you very much, Out of Print
Yeah.
GM.
Yeah.
I know that this was. You said it was semi-urgent, and it's only 3 weeks ago that you sent it. So maybe
Check out Necessary Evil. I think
Good job.
I think it will inspire you in a lot of ways.
So, who played what?
I played a Moment of Truth game.
The Bloodblade and Tusk game.
Bloodblade and
We
Tusk.
had that
Yeah.
on Sunday.
And we're having a lot of fun with that. Having fun with the setting.
Yeah.
And we're also road testing that game. It's going to be shaped up to be a really interesting game system.
I think so. I've got. There's someone on the forums who's sending me extensive edits,
Page
which
by
I'm-
page.
which I've gone through about half of them now. And,
Oh, nice.
And solidified stuff up. Also, Dave Kazay's looking at it
cool.
Oh,
as well.
as a note to you, somebody posted.
Yeah.
They said, "Is there a character sheet that's available for Moment of
Oh,
Truth?"
cool.
So if you want
Yeah.
to post
If
yours,
you want to send it to me, I can put
Yeah,
it on the
it's
Moment of Truth site.
it's in the
to
Slack.
the folder.
Oh,
I
it
can,
is.
I
Okay.
can send it to you otherwise, but yeah,
I
that's
can
the
put it in
updated
Moment.
one.
If you want to,
Yeah.
if you want to download the latest version of the game,
Yeah.
which isn't actually the latest version of the game because I'm doing
Lots of
massive edits
yeah.
right now. That's momentoftruthRPG.com. So, and then on Monday we played Tomorrow Legion,
Tomorrow
Legion.
Legion. Yeah.
and we're trapped. 3 of us
Oh.
are trapped.
Still see your stuff here. Yeah. Don't look at me. I'm not in it. I went to
That
bed.
Oh, I
stuff-
know, that's
That
right.
stuff's been posted, hasn't it?
I don't know.
I hope I'm not.
The Last Masks isn't up, so I don't know if it's
The Last Masks isn't up?
no, because the one you put up on Monday was the last one, and then we played.
Ruh-roh, you sure?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure.
I thought
So I don't know if Tomorrow Legion's up.
I may not.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I started to watch it live and then went to bed.
Wait.
It's all past my bedtime.
I played
I'm checking.
Star Wars,
Uh huh.
FFG. That was fun.
Are you playing a specific one, or
Mostly,
kinda
we have
combining?
characters from each of the books,
Uh huh.
but we are kind of playing Age of Rebellion. So we're
Okay.
playing, the kind of between the third and fourth.
And what are you
movies.
playing?
I am playing a diplomat agitator, and we've got. I think I talked about before that
From where?
we've got the cocky space pilot smuggler, who's Clockwork.
Look, sister. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I know, and I'm the You listen, you nerf herder. Yeah, the nerf. I'm that, only without the flowing and the buns.
Right.
Yeah.
And are you human?
I am human. We have the human pilot, and we have a Verpine engineer
I forgot which one.
who's
those
also
were.
a saboteur, apparently.
Oh, those aren't the bugs.
Yes.
Oh, those are the bugs.
It's a bug.
Verpine are the bugs.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he does the scissor motion with his hands when he's talking at the table. It's really creepy.
Like Sleestack?
Yeah, sort of like Sleestack. Yeah, and then Mook plays oh crap. It's
An Ewok?
no, his name is
That's what a player character
Gernok,
is.
but I always picture him like Killer Croc because it's some sort of crocodile dude.
Yeah. Is it the slavers?
No, what's the,
Rhodians?
name?
Not the Rhodians. No,
Shoot.
the big. There's one that shows up. When Darth Vader is on one of the battle cruisers or something, he's having a
Right.
conversation.
Right, he's one of those.
And there's a bunch of them up on a
Maybe.
thing, and you see
one of
like
the
the
bounty
foot
hunters.
of one of the bounty hunters,
Yeah.
and it's like a
Okay.
lizard.
They
dude.
kinda-
I bet
kinda
that's
pan
it then.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking we
They're
might have
the ones
a
that
Bosk. Yep.
The boss.
the
Yeah.
That's it, yeah. Not to be
Oh,
confused with
Trandoshan.
Yeah.
Trandoshan.
Trandoshans. That's what I'm thinking.
Trandoshan.
of.
Not
'Cause
to be
that's
confused with the Gorn.
That's the
Yeah, Bosks are the liony.
the
or-
Trandoshans are the ones
Yeah.
that hate
Okay.
that the Wookiees hate because they enslaved them and killed them all or something.
Oh, Bosk is the bounty hunter's name. Thanks.
Oh, Bosk is the guy's name.
Dave is
Okay.
gonna-
Of
Dave's
of course,
gonna-
it's Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause it's
just the last
the
Maskits
word.
game that went up was 10, and that went up
I have
last
to do backwards math.
week. If that's not the latest one, let me know and
Cool.
I'll put it up.
I'll look at
Backwards
the end of the
mathing.
show. I know because we did
And
the.
if I've deleted the cards, because I delete the cards sometimes, I'll just scrape the audio off the YouTube video.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look. We'll
Right.
look. But yeah, that and Bloodblade. Tomorrow I was telling Stu, I know this isn't I played yet, but I've been doing lots of work on a character for we're gonna do an all day session tomorrow, so it'll probably be I don't know, like a 10-hour game.
Oh, the D&D game?
D&D 5e. There's a newer book called Tales from the Yawning Portal, which is I don't know how many, but it's all old modules. So this is White Plume
so it's
Mountain.
a book with all of the modules in it?
Not all of them, but
Or a
there's like
bunch.
5 or 6 or
Okay.
7. Yeah, and
Now, is that put out by TSR or is that the
Yep.
one that put out by Goodman?
it's WotC.
Oh, WotC.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I know. It's
Same old, same
It's
old.
only been
TSR.
20 or 30
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, I think that's one of the last books they put out. But yeah, so there's other
They're not releasing a lot for it.
They are not, and
They're relying on that online
Beyond.
like drive through.
There's more than I
D&D
thought,
Beyond.
though.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? It was
The
called
new-
the Vault or something, wasn't it? The
Oh,
DM's
that.
Vault
I
or
thought you were.
something?
When I went to the gaming store the other day, there were more than I thought there would be because they just don't seem to make a blip on my radar. much.
It's been
When
out
they're
a
talking
long
about-
time. There should be
Yeah.
a lot of books.
I guess, yeah.
Is there a Player's Handbook too?
No.
No.
No, they don't have. There's only the
Second
first,
Monster
the
Manual?
3 core books. Second Monster Manual that's Volo's, right?
Okay, right.
And then 6 adventure books,
Mm-hmm.
and then 1 setting book, Sword Coast.
right.
And I think there's only 6 adventure books, like Rise of Tiamat. Is that what it is? Rise of Tiamat, Princess of Apocalypse.
I kind of expected more support.
Yeah, I don't know. I miss my Splat books. I like that. I'm
Right.
one of those people
I
that
mean,
would buy.
the fact it doesn't have all the races in it.
No.
And I mean, having a Player's Handbook too is a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was lucky they let the GM for tomorrow is letting us play with anything that's in a legit book. We're not allowed to play with Unearthed Arcana, which has a ton of that other stuff.
Oh, really?
Which I wish, yeah, because I discovered a shadow sorcerer that I told you was shadow magic that I wanted to play. I was like, oh my god, but it's Unearthed Arcana. But we're going to play White. I was telling Stu this White Plume Mountain, which I don't know if you ever played.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, I've never. I don't know
She
White
doesn't know.
Plume.
She doesn't know.
Okay.
No. From what, 1979 or something?
Probably.
played
it.
My friend across the street
So.
from me ran a couple of us
Hey,
through it.
if you guys have really good ideas before tomorrow, I was supposed to make a magic chart. So if you're listening in the chat room, I guess, of like 4 or 6 things. And I really want a Staff of Power, but I have to do 4 or 6 things, and they can't all be Staff of Power. So I figure if I don't get a Staff of Power, I'm going to do stuff like an Ifriti bottle and just like stuff to wreak havoc. So if
Right.
you have good ideas, you can tweet me. That'd be
Card
awesome.
of the deck of many things.
I don't think that's in the legit
it may
thing
not be.
yet. Yep.
Ion stones were cool
Staff
too.
of the Magi. No.
Is Tomb of Horrors in that same book?
No, they haven't done Tomb of Horrors except for 4E, obviously, but
Right.
yeah.
Like you can even make it in.
That's the biggest douchebag adventure
It is.
ever.
I can't have a Rod of Wonder. I wanted a Rod of Wonder, but I'm not a warlock. I'm a sorcerer, so I can't have one. I was like, can I have a warlock like attune it for me? Like, could I have paid somebody to attune the Rod of Wonder for me?
But you can do
no.
sorcerer still like wild magic and chaos.
Well, I'm
man.
going to do, there's a wild mage
Yeah.
and a storm, storm sorcerer, shadow sorcerer if you do Unearthed Arcana or Draconic. But yeah, so there you go. I know bullshit. That's what I say, Sergito.
All right.
Okay.
To the mailbag. Fudging,
mailbag.
Fudging hit points or making a choice from Abacus in Missouri.
Okay.
Would like to read that.
Well, want to just go around.
Sure.
In season 19, episode 20, you all agreed that if the GM wanted to just ignore hit points, narrate damage, and arbitrarily declare death, that was fine. My response, how would the GM feel if a player did the same thing? Monster does a critical hit for 58 hit points. Oh, that hurt, but I'm still in the fight. You're 3rd level. How many hit points do you have? Oh, don't worry about that. I don't think one hit from this monster would hurt that much. Pause for discussion.
Yeah, I knew we were going to get blowback from that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I think that first, when the GM is doing this, and in the context in which we were talking about it, it was about taking away hit points from the monster. It wasn't about adding hit points to the monster. It was about avoiding the point where you get to the, I hit, I do 4 points. I hit, I do 2 points.
It was
And
realizing
then
when you just need to let it.
when it just becomes a grind. Who the fuck wants to have
Yeah.
a grind
I
when
totally
you're
agree.
playing a game? It's freaking boring. So if you don't like it, you can just go ahead and have a grind and torture your players with game mechanics.
At some point, you have to make
It's
a decision,
different.
I think, to stress the story
Yeah.
over the mechanics. And there is a balance that has to get met. And sometimes the mechanics suffer, or maybe sometimes the story suffers as well. I think more often than not, the story suffers all the time anyway. Every time dice are rolled, and
Generally, I think
So-
generally I agree with you. Yeah.
so there's a balance. Basically, is what we're trying to strike here. It's not necessarily a what's the word I'm looking for? A nuclear option to just screw over your players.
No, it's in fact it's the opposite of that. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, you're gonna win the fight. It's inevitable. The math is in your
Yeah.
favor. I'm just gonna say the guy ran away, or the next hit took him out, or whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't actually have to do all 78 hit points. 68 is enough.
Yeah. No, I think so too.
Of course, the difference between that and his analogy with the player ignoring his hit points is the player is doing it for his own favor. The GM is doing it for the story's favor, not for
Right.
the monster's favor.
Right.
Yeah, especially like you said, if you can really see the way that the tide is turning and it's inevitable.
Yeah, and that happens
Like,
in most
you don't
games.
need another round and a half of 7 turns.
Damage.
Yeah.
Can we go home now? Yeah.
I think
Why?
I've seen every GM I've ever played with do that.
Of course.
Because you can kind of sometimes tell, but I've
And then-
never been cheated.
I'm sure these people say, "Oh, but
Yeah.
if you narrate it all the time, it's so interesting and fascinating." Bullshit.
Yeah.
No, you're just gilding. You're just gilding a piece of shit. Is what you're doing at that point. It's what you're doing because it's like, okay, you know what's going to happen.
I was sat out there for like
Oh.
6.5
Oh my
hours or
God.
something in one combat.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
And once you know how it's going to turn out, well, just end the fight.
And we sat there and we hit it and we just
Yeah.
watched his hit points drop 5
Now,
points per hit.
if you
and-
get to the point where like the players are out of all of their heals and they don't have any of their action points or whatever they call it now in 5th
Yeah.
edition and all that stuff, and they're
Inspiration.
down a bunch of hit points and maybe 1 or 2 of them's down and the bad guy's still up, well, then I would stick with the numbers that you got, and I would because at that point you don't know. But if you get to the point where all the players are fine, they haven't used a bunch of their healing
Dailies or
abilities or
whatever,
whatever
yeah.
they call them now,
Yeah.
and the bad guy's down to 25% of his 25% of his hit points. All right, this fight's over. It's only a matter of time. The only person who doesn't know it is the dude on the table.
No, it's true. Okay, so after the pause for discussion, all that said, there is always free will. If a player wanted his character to lay down and wait to die after the first time they are hit, that's the player's choice. In the same way, the monster is the GM's character. If the GM says the monster gives up or lays down or takes some penalty, that all seems fine to me because that is just how this character is choosing to react. These are really two different matters. Taking away any consideration of the numbers without telling the players is just as much cheating as if the player decides their character is invulnerable. Thanks for the show and all the thought-provoking discussions. Abacus from Missouri.
Well, here's the thing. If I went to Vegas and I took a bunch of my chips and I just like stuck them over into the dealer's section of the table, not bet them,
Yeah.
but like threw them to the dealer, no one's going to accuse me of stealing because that's not stealing. Stealing is when I take them. So cheating is when, first off, if you're a GM and you think that the monsters are your character, you're wrong. But if you think that way and you're giving up hit points, you're not cheating. You're doing whatever the opposite of cheating is. Maybe you're playing badly. Maybe you should be trying to win. I don't know. It just seems to me that
Because you're good at D&D.
right.
Right.
You got that's how you
that's
prove
good.
you're good at D&D
Yeah.
by making sure that you grind down every fucking little hit point. Have fun. Enjoy it.
Gray Otter said cheating is caring. I don't know.
He is caring. No.
So anyway, got a
Totally
T-shirt now.
nonsense, but
Thank
it
you.
was kind of funny.
It's caring.
Yeah.
But I mean, no. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about doing stuff that's in the player's favor, and not even in the player's favor.
yeah.
This isn't even like, oh, I've come up with a fight and it's really bad and it's going to kill a couple of characters and I didn't really intend to do that. Today, I would be like, I'm going to let those dice fall where they may.
Yeah.
They knew what they were going up against.
run away.
They chose to go up against
Yeah.
it, whatever. But when you're getting to a situation where I know that this monster is going to die, and this monster is not going to take anyone out, take
Yeah.
anyone with them, because the way they've got the board set up or whatever, there's just no way for this thing to. Why make them go through the torture of that? Oh no, you have to. That's like if you're playing a chess game and one of the players wants to concede. That's cheating. You can't concede.
It's this very specific set of circumstances, but it also relates to me in many of the ways, like, why roll a perception roll? Just tell them. Is that also
Sure.
cheating? I mean, in a way it is,
Well,
because
you know,
they're not actually actively making a perception roll.
The one argument against just telling people in those cases is there are people who will make characters who will spend points to be more perceptive than other people.
I get that.
And they will feel robbed. So
And they are robbed. It's
and
like I
yeah.
just dumped a bunch of points in something I'm not
I'm never going to use.
Yeah.
That everyone else now
Right.
is as good as
Yeah.
good at as I am.
I get that.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's a flawed example, but I'm pointing it out that there are times when it's in specific circumstances when it's okay to, I don't want to say cheat. What's the word I'm looking for?
Adjudicate
Oh, there
rather
we
than
go.
roll.
Very nice. Very good.
Okay.
Very well.
Sure.
I agree. Absolutely agree.
And again,
You
this
can
isn't a
hand wave
blanket
and stuff
statement.
like
This
that,
is
yeah.
This is not every time.
No.
This is like as Stu says, for example, when you know that the why sit there for another hour and a half winnowing the monster down, just say, the fight was epic, and you all have defeated him soundly, and he's lying in a pool of his blood, and you're done. The battle is now finished.
You know, there was a time when I would say, hey, you know what? If a fight's going too easy, add some hit points to the monster. But I'm to the point now where I don't think that's necessary, because the fight in the old D&D Eldemy game, the fight everyone talks about is the No Mere Hedge Mage fight, where they literally one-punched this guy before he could get off his first spell, which would have been devastating and may have actually killed a couple characters.
Oh my god!
It was Fireball, and I think at the time they were like 3rd level or something.
And it's just all about initiative at that point.
It was all about initiative, and he never got to do anything, and he said, I am no mere hedge mage, and boom, 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 dead. And they're still, and people still laugh about that. And just think if I had like padded his hit points or something, that whole game that's the highlight story of that entire game, 20-some sessions.
Well, more than anything, I think it's because of the quote. It's the quote you say. I mean, had you not said that.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I don't think I am more annoyed as a player, so this means it's a good thing to do as a GM, because what would happen is when they bamf, where you're just like, we're just
and they teleport out, you mean?
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah. No, but it's kind of true especially if you're playing a longer con, or like an arc. They're not necessarily the bigger, badder guys. The number 2 guys are not gonna just sit there and.
Oh no.
They're like, yeah, no, I need to get foe right now.
Oh yeah. So it's like what Dave did in not the last Tomorrow Legion game, but the one before that. We're fighting these big sort of mechanical spider people with these people on top of them. I don't know what they were.
Nice.
And
that's awesome.
And we're shooting the shit out of them, and they're just not dying. And I'm using my rail gun on them, which is supposed to be the most devastating thing in the game. It's like not, but part of that was because
the character killer. You mean
the character killer?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you named it?
PC Bane.
Totally. Totally
PC Cleaver.
Character Burr.
Yeah.
But we were messing up the armor piercing rules because it ignores like 25 points of armor.
Oh my
God! The gun does,
yeah. It's
really?
A sick weapon. Oh yeah,
But that's all it can do.
Awesome.
It does 4d12 plus 4 damage.
It shoots through
in Savage.
schools.
But
yeah.
But that's the problem with it too, because that's all it does, and he can't throttle it back.
Armor piercing.
Mm-hmm. It does mega damage because they tweaked the rules so it would have the feel of the Rifts game.
That's awesome.
Which I have to say is pretty freaking fun.
That's awesome. Hey, we got from Master Viter in the chat room. We got a drink. Thank you. Cheers. Awesome.
To your health, sir.
Yes.
So, but I don't know. I mean, if you don't want to do it and you want to grind out every last hit point, go ahead and do it. If that's what makes fun at your table and you guys dig the shit out of doing that, God bless you.
The mom murdering boom gun.
Yes, it's the mom murdering boom gun. A GM success story from Dave in Florida.
Dear Jackers, I've written in twice before, both with a question and with an atrocious GM horror story.
Ah!
But this time, I wanted to share my success story. I realized that I run the risk of being boring. Stories about everyone having a great time is never as entertaining as a story about bad GMing, but I'm going to try anyway. I've been GMing for a long time, since the Red Box, and I love to learn new ways of doing things. I've been listening to Happy Jacks for a couple of years now, and I regurgitate all the advice that you give to my fellow hobbyists as if it were my own. Yesterday, I believe I was able to bring all of the Happy Jacks commandments to good GMing to bear. The wonderful fruit that grew with these commandments are sweet indeed. A few weeks ago,
Fava beans.
I'm serious setting the scene. A few weeks ago, I and my group of incredibly talented players finished up our Savage World Superpowers 2.0 Necessary Evil.
Hold on Amazon, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is on there on Amazon Streaming.
We are in danger of flunking most egregiously.
I forgot how awesome that movie is.
No, I never forgot.
Oh my God! And they did give their big presentation at the end with all of the historical characters.
So great.
It was awesome.
I was obsessed with that movie.
I love that movie
I
so
snuck
much.
a recorder into the theater and recorded
It was-
it on a
It's the best.
Pocket
It's the
cassette
best
thing.
movie that had the worst sequel.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and
Well,
who wrote that sequel?
let's not forget Highlander
somebody,
2.
somebody
I
decent.
mean, it was pretty awful.
Highlander.
Okay,
2
Highlander
might
2
have
was
been.
awful, but was it as
Yeah.
bad as Bill and Ted's Bogus
I
Journey?
think it was worse.
No, I don't know.
Bill and
Anyway,
That's saying something.
Station, dude, Station.
Yeah.
and Dancing Death.
Yeah.
A few months ago, I and my friend of
stallions.
incredibly
You sank
talented
my battleship.
talented
It does
players.
have its moments.
Say hello to the princesses.
Sorry.
Sorry, now I'm
Start-
A few
Teddy.
months ago, I and my group of incredibly talented players finished up our Savage Worlds Superheroes 2.0 Necessary Evil breakout campaign. See, Necessary Evil right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, there you go.
Even though the players made this game incredibly fun, I wanted to try something new. I'm a big fan of the Wearing the Cape books by Marion. I'm going to have to
Oh,
look these up. Marion
yeah.
Harmon. And when I saw that he was kickstarting an RPG game based on his books, I was all in. I found out that the system was fate-based, so I did my best to learn the system. The learning curve was steep, a couple of months, but well worth it. The system is a great fit for my GMing style and for applying the commandments. Commandment 1. Create challenges, not solutions. Wearing the Cape is a superhero game set in the modern world with real-world consequences. Think more Marvel Comics universe than the comic books. In our newly minted game, the players are replacement heroes for a previously established team based in Tampa. There have been a number of terrorist attacks in Tampa by the Verntech super science villain who can use nuclear-powered eggs to animate metal objects like cranes, cars, and even buildings.
Fascinating.
And it's awesome. Things get worse when it turns out that one of the attacks was a diversion so that the terrorists named ICO, an Islamic Caliphate organization, could steal 5 kilograms of plutonium-239 en route to Yucca Mountain for disposal. This is enough plutonium to mutate all of the high-rise buildings in downtown Tampa into killer robots of destruction. I wrote the problem. I had no idea how they would find plutonium for the bad guys. How they would find plutonium or the bad guys. Commandment 2, yes and the players. We discussed things. The players came up with 5 actions that they wanted to try. I turned this into an extended skill challenge where the first team could create an advantage for the next team of players, and so on. Everyone was deeply invested in this challenge because they created it. The game was theirs
Nice.
at that point. The only thing I did was every now and then kick the ball in bounds and complicate lives a bit. Oh, I did this by applying Commandment 3, get the players personally involved. The investigation led them to the mansion of one of the richest men in the world, a young Arab prince who was the head of an oil empire. He was throwing a gala event because his company just announced the approval of 3 tidal turbine generators that would be built in the Tampa Bay. All of this was narrated by the players, by the way. The prince wanted to convert his company to clean energy. One of the players, Oni, a former Yakuza thug, trying to redeem himself, was having a drink at the bar when he heard a familiar voice behind him. His old employer, one of the heads of the Yakuza from Tokyo, was having a vodka behind him. The look on the player's face was priceless. Everyone else was excited. I went into this game a little nervous. I did not have a clear path of victory for the players, and I was worried that the game would stall out, and I would look like an unprepared fool. But knowing the system and trusting my players, I turned out an entirely social game with no combat that was filled with conflict, intrigue, tension, and excitement.
Right?
Hey everyone, sincerely, thank you very much. You've changed the way I prep and run games, and you've made them better. You rock! David, part of the Swift Creek Circle Gaming Group in Tampa, Florida. P.S. I'm going to figure out a way to get a sixer of the best IPA in the world to you. Cigar City's Ya'ala.
Shai
Ya'ala. Until then, drink!
I'm sorry,
Drink.
High Ally.
Highlight.
Because High Ally is that game with the things.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, Ya'ala. Okay. That makes
And they
sense.
used to always show a bit of that in the beginning of the Miami Vice. Remember that?
Yeah.
Because they have those things.
That's those stupid prohibition laws that are still like that, so you can't ship
the blue laws.
alcohol over.
That's federal, I think.
It is,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like it's from the prohibition era or something. Like it would be for bootlegging, so you can't ship your stuff over state lines
I don't know
without.
when. I don't know when it started. It very well may be. I don't know.
Because it's sad. That's an awesome story.
I would
though.
imagine
is.
pre-prohibition.
Oh, there is something I
Maybe.
noticed here too. It's a pro tip from having run a bunch
Yeah?
of superhero games. Place it in a city you know.
Oh, sure.
Because
Absolutely.
if you don't know the city, it doesn't make the game interesting at all. And so he put it in Tampa where he is. So everybody knows where they are. When they say you're down at 4th and Main, everybody can now picture it and they know, oh,
Right.
there's that bookstore there.
That-
It makes it so much easier because we tried to play it in Chicago and we all stalled out. We're like, I don't know Chicago. I don't know anything
Unless
about it.
it's a make-believe place and
Yes.
you do, because I was reminded in reading this about how much fun world burning is, that when you sit down with people and you're creating,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you did that for that GURPS game you ran online too, didn't you? You kind of
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I made the world. I made a little section of the world.
Uh-huh.
But when the players made their characters, I'm like, okay, the adventure I had in mind is not going to work with these guys. so I
Got
made
it.
it more of a political game. The last email, or actually, it was supposed to be the third email. I forgot to copy over, so I have it up on here.
Sure.
I'll read it now.
Okay.
This is from. Who is this from? Corey, also known as Mr. Man of War.
Mr. Man of War.
Hello, Studimus Prime, and you douchebots who are robots in disguise. I have a question for you all. First off, first-time emailer, long-time and frequent poster on the forums as Mr. Man
First
of
time
War.
emailer?
First-time emailer.
Nice.
He even sent prizes at some point, I believe. Mr. Man of War.
Did he?
Yeah, I
Awesome.
think that print.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Here is my question. Why are we as a hobby so divisive on the games we play? And more importantly, why are we so derogatory on others who don't play the games we play? For background, I get some dislike I get that some dislike D&D in its various incarnations, and others seem to be against White Wolf, Vampire, etc., and some seem to hate the whole superhero bit and other games. Others tend to like Burning Wheel and its offshoot, while others like Powered by the Apocalypse games, and some like Savage Worlds or Dungeon World or Butterflies Kill Zombies or Politicians vs. Sewer Cleaners RPG games, etc. I get it. What I don't get is the whole let's bash the rules set or that game mentally in some kind of feudal one-upsmanship nonsense that seems to go on like some kind of bizarre pissing contest to prove one RPG is better than another, and one RPG is better than all others, and that's GURPS. Sorry. This hobby has, as far as I know, and as far as I know, this podcast is about inclusive endeavors, whereas we all try to get new gamers into the hobby. So why the infighting? Why do we argue about this rule set or that? Why the OSR? Why don't we play Dungeon World? Why don't we play cartoon characters versus Space Amoeba, etc.? Is this some inherent drive amongst RPG players / GMs where we feel we have to push GURPS, D&D, White Wolf? I take a exception. GURPS, D&D, White Wolf stuff, Powered by the Apocalypse stuff, Star Wars stuff, etc., to promote some kind of exclusivism that these games didn't promote? I don't know. Secondly, why must it divide if one person loves D&D in its various incarnations, another likes Call of Cthulhu, another likes D20 OGL stuff, another likes Dungeon Worlds or Numenera, I hear that's got great art, etc. For me, as players, etc., you like what you like, you buy what you buy. Why the negative slamming of other systems and ridicule of people who play things different from what we play? I guess I'm tired of the bashing and condescending attitude some take about certain games wherein we all try to promote new players to the hobby, and every one of us has a new gateway in. Are there truly some games that should never be played, Fatal excluded, that deserves its own personal level of hell? Why or why not? What is acceptable argumentation and what is not when discussing game design and personal tastes for newcomers, as well as longtime GM/DMs of the game? What do you fine prognosticators think? Corey, Mr. Man of War.
I mean,
I think well said.
it is. He's very well said. But I mean, tribes, really? People branch off into camps. I mean, this. I don't want to say it's human nature, but certainly there's people
It's
that like
nerd
football
nature.
more than they like basketball. Oh, basketball sucks. It's so boring. Nothing happens. I really
look
like
at
football.
people kill each other over sports teams.
They do.
Yeah.
That's right.
I
Go ahead.
No, I do think it's human nature, and that's what I was going to say, is that it was kind of enlightening to me as a new gamer just, I don't know, 6 years ago, that there was caste system within gaming. I'm like, this is a niche of a niche of a niche. And that
sure.
word is
Yeah.
niche, but yeah. And I was like, there is like a caste system, and these are like the sportos, and these are
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
the intellectual,
It's more of a class system, I think.
class system.
I don't know.
But it's
I'm
like Lord of
teasing.
the Flies.
It is.
And it is. I think it's just like some sort of.
Well, as nerds, we get
Yeah.
enthusiastic about the stuff we love.
Yep.
I'm borderline obsessed.
Exactly. So the stuff that you like,
You
want
really
other.
like it.
We're just like Jehovah's Witnesses. We have to share the good news with you.
And we don't understand
Yeah.
why people don't like what we like because we agree on so many things. How
Well,
come you don't like it?
Because
Some
we
of
like
this-
it.
Some of us eventually can understand that, but we do. But we do. You do want, like, if you discover some cool game, what's the first thing you do? You go to your friends and say, "Hey, I just discovered this cool game. We should totally play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
We should see if you all like the same thing I like." The
Yeah.
first thing we do.
And you're a little bit bummed when people don't like it, but I think most people get over it.
Well, it's just like music. It's
But
like, oh, I
not
hate
everybody.
the fucking Eagles. Oh, I love Hotel California. Oh, you suck. No, you suck. How can you not like the Eagles?
Yeah.
Well, they had one good song.
All of that. It's that same mentality.
Hated the Eagles until I saw the history of the Eagles, and then
Oh,
I
really?
was like, Don Henley's totally punk rock.
Oh, no
And
shit.
yeah, no, I was impressed. They're actually
Okay,
decent
that's not my, all
musicians.
right. That's not my point.
The real Great Worm said, if there's anything geeks love, it's arguing about geeky crap.
Yeah.
That's right.
RPG rules are not accepted.
And I think a lot of it is posturing in much the same way that somebody will defend how great Hotel California is to somebody who's
That's a fantastic song.
okay,
Yeah.
that's fine, but I'm awfully tired of it. I
for
could
sure.
go the
Oh,
rest
sure.
of my life and never hear it ever
Yeah.
You
again.
know what? I thought I would never want to hear again, but I downloaded it because my kids had never heard the song.
Yeah?
Was "Stairway to Heaven."
Well,
All right.
see, I was just going to say that's their Stairway to Heaven, or
Yeah.
But
one came before the
But
other.
people love to just, all right, I'm
Yeah.
drawing a line in the sand. I hate Hotel California. I'm going to see how long I'm going to die on this hill.
Right.
And sometimes it's just
Yeah.
kind of like fun. Like as he said, people like to argue.
Like never seeing E.T.
Like yeah, right. At some point, it becomes a badge of honor. I'm like, I'm
No,
not.
I've never seen it.
I'm not going to see it. Fuck you. F
I'm gonna
you.
die without saying it.
Right. and I
But
think
you know what? The reason I have never seen E.T. is because when it came out in the theaters, guess what happened?
Yes.
People oversold that
Sure.
shit.
Yep, that
Everyone
happens to
told
me all the time.
And I just got to the point, it's like, you know what?
Yep.
Fuck you. I'm not listening to any of you anymore.
Yeah.
No.
I've never seen Rocky Horror Picture Show for the same reason.
Soured.
Because how many times
I
have
w-
you gone to see something
I watched it.
overhyped? Yeah. And
Yeah.
then you're like
And it's like,
kind of
oh, it
disappointed.
was all right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And they just got to the point where it's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not that interested in seeing that, so I'm not going to see it. Now I'm going to make a point of not seeing it.
Yeah.
God damn it, because you kept bugging me. But Rocky Horror Picture Show, I watched it like on DVD or it was on live streaming somewhere or something. I'd never seen it in the theater. I watched it. I'm like, music's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's got
Wacky.
some funny bits in it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's kind of a
But
shit
you're
film.
like, "Oh."
I mean, okay.
But I was never one of those. I was never part of that crowd that went to the theater
Cult
for.
movie.
No.
Yeah.
But bringing it back to the email, I mean,
Yeah.
we do this all. We do it with food. You know,
Sure.
I can't stand seafood, but people, my family loves it, so I just shut up and eat it when they, because they really dig it. So I mean, I think it's
Even shrimp?
I just it all tastes too fishy to me now. I can't even eat tuna fish anymore.
Well, if tuna fish is fish.
How?
Yeah, I know.
Tuna
I just,
fish
I
is
can't-
fishy.
I just,
Calamari?
I
Why
never
not?
never liked calamari. It's
Oh.
I kind of feel like I'm chewing on an inner tube or like a
Whitefish?
It's a small inner tube.
yes. It's more like a balloon, really.
Fish sticks?
It's like a condom.
That's Coney Island whitefish, Michael.
Coney Island whitefish.
But anyway,
What's
I mean,
that?
that's
Bag of foreskins?
it's a it's and okay, all right. I'm
No, I
done.
just had a horrible thought about whales and foreskins.
About whales and foreskins?
Yeah, like, do animals have? I don't want to know. Don't answer.
the whale
Probably.
moil comes by and
Yeah, the whale moil.
And do you have a bris?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Jewish ones do.
Oh, don't
Jewish whales.
don't get me
Are
started
whales kosher?
about
Well, yeah, it depends what
the
they're killed.
bris thing. Oh,
So
I don't know. I don't know if whales would be considered kosher.
I don't know.
they don't have cloven hooves.
That's true. No, they don't.
Ta-da!
I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I know, that's
an
funny.
interesting question.
It's really funny. I don't know.
Depends on how they were killed, maybe. I guess. You know.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it's
Like to
the...
cook them in butter. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm like getting back to the email.
Is there whale butter?
Yeah. No. It's blubber.
know.
You just cook it in, yeah. It has its own butter.
Those are all really interesting thoughts.
So anyway,
kind of gross.
Yes.
Why is it, do you think that we draw lines in the sand and die on these certain hills?
You know what you brought up that's interesting is why do we expect that we would not? Because what you just brought up is a good point that people argue about all things. When you like something, you want people to want to share that, which I think is what Stu said.
And also when you
But
have a negative experience with a game, it kind of fouls your taste to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like eating a bad olive, and you can never eat olives ever again.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. You were fine up to that one olive, and all of a sudden,
And it shut me down for 3 days.
never eat olives again.
Yep. Lost 10 pounds.
Maybe you should eat more olives.
No. I'll never go through that again. But I think like for me, like right now, the Powered by the Apocalypse thing, it's kind of subsided. It's kind of stopped.
Yeah.
But it just gets annoying after a while. That it's like, I got a stack of games that I've purchased and have not played. Some of which I have not read. Some of those are Powered by the Apocalypse games, but there's a lot of older stuff in there than that I still have not done. And it's just, I'm going to get to it when I get to it. And that's when I'm going to get to it.
We on this podcast sometimes will draw lines in the sand just for this. Not just.
I
for the
do
sake of
like
argument,
poking fun at people who bug me.
Yes, but we
about
also
doing something over and over.
We
again.
also tend to do this for
Yeah.
discussion purposes too. It's like
Yeah.
one takes one
Sure.
side, one takes another. That makes an interesting argument. But I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, people get so passionate about one game system that they forego all else, and it does seem a shame. It's like.
No, the Savage Worlds, the Savage Worlds community, not the whole community, but
Right.
there's adherents to Savage Worlds who are like, I would never play anything else.
Why
I just
would
committed
I?
to
Why
Savage
would I
Worlds.
bother? Yeah.
But you know what? I was the same way with GURPS when I played GURPS a
Yeah.
lot. And I haven't run a GURPS game now in 6 or 7 years,
Wow.
maybe longer.
Well, and back when there was a lot of interest in Savage Worlds, there were a lot of people that loathed bennies. So,
Right. Well, I mean, but that's not the system's fault. That's the GM. A GM who gives bennies for lame reasons is.
And there's still people
That's
out
the-
there that hate it. I mean, we still
Yeah.
have people on the forums that hate Savage Worlds, and
Yeah.
that's their prerogative. It's
Right.
fine.
I'll bet you for most people that hate it, they hate it because they were oversold it.
It's also just.
That's my guess.
Sometimes it's just there's a lot of little fiddly bits. There's a lot of little numbers
Yeah.
and mechanics, and maybe it's just not for everyone. I know an Apocalypse World is so much
Yeah.
more open.
Oh, but there have been people who've not liked Savage Worlds long before Apocalypse World became the new hotness.
that's true. That's true.
I
So
mean, there's people who like. I'm sure there's people who dislike Savage Worlds who love Pathfinder, which has way more fiddly bits.
yeah.
So do you think it comes down to, I mean, I think rationally people understand that different people like different games and different games appeal to, but do you think, because recently,
I think you're making a big assumption that may
yeah,
not
no, that's
necessarily be
probably,
true.
that might not
It's been
be
my
totally
observation.
true.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you done?
No, the only other thing I was going to say.
I thought you shut yourself down. I thought you were like, oh, never mind.
No. The only other part of that I can think of that has come up recently because of the PBTA, conversations and that sort of thing, is when people think you don't like something for the right reason, like that you're wrong. Because no, I know. That's why but I'm just saying that there. You know how when like somebody's going to tell you that you haven't had the right seafood or
Right.
prepared the right way,
Right.
or
You'd love octopus if you
if
tried
you
it right.
had,
What about sushi? Like sushi?
you've just not had good
A
octopus.
lot of wasabi on it.
Okay, fuck yeah. It's just
That
the way I
way,
eat it.
that way I
Right.
can't taste the fish.
Okay. Grunions? Like grunions?
Maybe. I think I've had smelled.
What's a grunion?
It's like a sardine kind of
Oh.
smell.
They used to have Grenion runs in Long Beach.
but we've killed them all with the pollution now.
I don't think they're even there anymore. But
Interesting.
Oh,
I mean, go ahead.
what I was going to say was, and it's probably a generalization, it's probably an assumption, but I think that the more comfortable somebody is with a game, the more that they like it. For example, I'm very comfortable with Savage Worlds. I'm not very comfortable with Fate or Apocalypse World yet, and I therefore I tend to and I can speak more knowledgeably about the game system. So oftentimes people with the game system they're most familiar with and most comfortable with is the one they espouse the most because they can talk knowledgeably, and it's the one it's their comfortable bathrobe. It's the one that they're most used to.
Sure.
And I think that plays a lot into these lines that people are drawing in the sand. Go ahead.
Maybe. I mean, I think most rational people will, if someone plays a game and says, no, that's not really for me, most rational people will go, oh, okay, well, that game's not for them. But there's diehards who just won't do that. And it's like the I've only played in one Powered by the Apocalypse game, and that was Dave77 ran the Gong Show game for us.
Okay.
In Spirit of 77.
Okay.
And someone said, well, he hadn't really played an Apocalypse War game because that wasn't the right Apocalypse War game. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Now, I had a lot of fun at the game. It was a blast.
Yeah.
I think Dave is a fantastic GM.
Oh yeah, he is.
There are some things about the gameplay that I'm like, I kind of want a little more meat to my gameplay than that.
It was also a pretty wacky, superficial game.
I mean,
too.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of sameness,
Yeah.
generally speaking, when
and
it comes to mechanics.
Yeah.
That's my criticism with Savage Worlds. Although I'll say what the add-on stuff that they've put on for Rifts, that a lot of that sameness has gone away.
It doesn't feel like a Savage Worlds game.
Yeah.
No, not when I'm pulling a handful of dice and rolling it.
That's awesome.
I'm going to roll my damage. Suddenly, I'm playing Champions. But and if it wasn't for the fact that it's so slow and cumbersome, Champions would be a go-to game for me because I like being able to use the mechanics to more precisely determine what is going to happen in a situation. Whereas with games like Apocalypse World, it's all about narrative effect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And everything is all an abstraction through the filter of narrative.
Yeah.
At least from my experience. But if I'm playing a certain game that will remain nameless, and I have a sword, I can attack with that sword in two different ways and do two different kinds of damage to you.
Right.
Right? And that has a real solid game effect. I'm going to roll X if I'm going to swing the sword at you, and I'm going to roll Y if I'm going to try to stab you with the impaling point of the sword.
You could even
And
turn
it's
it
gonna
on
have
its
two-
side. You get a third
Versus
attack
just
out of it with a blood
having
attack.
hack and slash.
Right. Because I do
This
damage.
is how I do it, and
Right.
this is how I do it, and this is how I do it, but it's this move.
It's still always good.
Yeah.
See, that's the my criticism of D&D. I want to hit him in the head. How many GMs running D&D have heard a player, usually a new player, say, "I'm going to hit him in the head." Okay, you do 1 point of damage.
To his
Or
head?
two.
Yeah.
So doesn't that knock him out? No,
No.
D&D doesn't have rules for knocking people out in the head. Well, they might be in the DMG. I don't know, but I didn't see them. But I mean, but for other people, that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You just don't hit people in the head.
No.
Or you assume their heads.
Or if you get a critical hit, suddenly you did hit them in the head.
You hit them in the head.
It's like every time you swing your sword, you close your eyes, and when you open them, you've hit someplace. You don't know what it is.
Right. But I mean, and other people don't give a shit about that. That stuff bugs me. That's why I want things that work in a certain way. And I mean, I don't need to have your head has so many hit points. The left arm has this many hit points.
Played
The
that
right arm
game,
has that.
RuneQuest, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It depends
Well,
on...
kind of GURPS, but GURPS handles it a little differently.
Yeah. Well, and just your point is apt because it depends on what you want out of a game.
Right.
Well,
I want
so
I
different
want people
people
to
are
be able to,
gonna
to describe
Yeah.
what it is they want to do, and be able to use the game rules to create that thing and have it have a real unique effect.
As quickly and efficiently as possible, too. I don't
That
wanna
helps.
I don't want to spend a bunch of time doing math, coming up with a target number, and then rolling percentile dice. I don't
Like-
want that. I just want to roll,
Yeah.
like, all right, this is what you need to hit, go.
Right, exactly. So,
So somewhere in between.
but I don't,
Well,
you know,
GURPS, if you have, like, the Mook does that. He does all
Yeah.
that math, and so does Stu, on the fly. So you want to hit him in the head? Okay, this is your
Yeah.
target number.
well, it's more complicated. In 3rd edition, it was easy. In
Yeah.
4th edition, there's a lot more damage types than there are in 3rd.
Yes.
There, 3rd edition, there was crushing, crushing,
Slashing,
impaling, and cutting.
piercing. Okay.
Crushing, impaling, and cutting were the damage types. Now, there's like 3 or 4
Burning.
different kinds of piercing.
Oh.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah, no,
piercing,
there is.
piercing
Yeah.
plus, piercing
Yeah.
plus something. Yeah, there's all kinds of different ones.
No, it's
And they do that
banana
because
sandwich.
depending on
It's
on-
nuts.
like one of the damage types is specifically for like 50 caliber sniper rifles, which is like, okay, that's got to do a shit ton of damage. Like it really is going to
So
matter.
if I hit him in the head,
Hydrostatic.
is he down?
Yes.
Shoot somebody with
with
a
a
bow.
50
The
cal.
hydrostatic shock wave is not nearly as much as a 50 caliber bullet going through you. The hydrostatic that goes through your body.
Yeah.
a whole different type of piercing.
And the difference between rifle rounds and pistol rounds
Oh, yeah.
is dramatically different because one's going 900 feet per second and the other one is going
Even stabbing somebody,
3,000 feet per
stabbing
second.
somebody with a poignard, it's a whole different type of. I get it.
than hitting them with a sword, especially a big thick one. So, but but that's my own personal preference. That's
Yeah.
that's what I want out of a game. What I'm building with Moment of Truth is what I'm hoping it's going to give you that kind of granularity, so you can do that kind of stuff. But it's not going to be a real heavy, cumbersome thing.
We have to look up each type of damage and then figure out.
Yeah, it's not going to be like that. It's like
yeah.
you're going to hit him in the head. This is what you do to your damage dice. If you're going to do this, this is what you do to your damage dice.
Right.
But that's me, and I know that there are going to be people who they're going to look at Moment of Truth and go, nah, that's fine. I don't care. I wrote the game that I want to run, basically,
Right.
and that because the biggest thing to me, the thing that irks me most about most role playing games is combat taking too long. I hate it when
Yeah.
combat takes so long.
I do
There's
Yep.
2 reasons now. I used to only be one. I just don't like long combats.
Yeah.
I want them to be, to me, half hour is perfect.
Yeah.
A half hour combat, go through 3 or 4 rounds, things over, maybe 20 minutes, but it usually ends up being a half hour.
Sure.
But like a 2-hour combat, I'm out.
See, and I like a little bit more granularity in my combat. I like to take called shots. I like to, I want to aim and shoot at the head. I want to shoot the chandelier off the wall and have them hit. I
Yeah.
like to have those options instead of just, I close my eyes, I roll the dice, I open my eyes, I hit him and did some kind of...
I hit him in his hit point pool.
And I'll play those games. And I grew up with those games, and I love it. I get it. It's an abstraction, but I do like to sometimes because it if you can hit them in the head, it all of a sudden applies to your tactics. Rather than you just running up and everybody bashing at them, maybe I'll drop back with a bow and I'll take 3 rounds aiming, and
Right.
now I've got cover, and
Well, because
it
you
can affect everything.
you feel like you accomplish something with a different layer of the gameplay, where you're
Yeah.
getting to kind of
You individualize each person's
Yeah.
combat more. Everybody has a bit more.
Where like in a
tactics.
narrative game, you can absolutely still say you are doing those things,
Right.
but it isn't like you are applying different. In some games, there are other mechanical things or there are moves on the. But I totally understand what you're saying with like the level of where you want to see the mechanical influence of
Right.
the gameplay.
Yeah. And it's not, I mean, I don't dislike
Yeah, I had to say the same
Apocalypse
thing.
World games. I don't dislike people who play Apocalypse World games. I don't like being bugged about it all the time. But that's pretty much stopped, like I said. But I mean,
But that's how you go through life too. I mean, you don't like. I mean, people oversell a book on you. You're like, fuck you.
I'm not reading. I'm
that.
never going to read that
Yeah.
book. But I mean, especially for us, when getting back to shorter
Yeah.
combats, I've always disliked long combats.
Yeah.
And GURPS combats can get that way especially if you have high-powered characters.
Yeah.
When people have high active defenses, and it's just like a sword fight, it can go on for a while.
Or people aren't using tactics very well.
But once you get one hit on the guy,
everything starts to collapse.
that fight's going to end. But the other reason is because we do actual plays now. We have seen, and this happens in every game. Well, not pretty much every game. When combat starts and it's a bunch of dice rolling, you can watch the viewership start to drop. People find it boring. Mechanics in actual plays, mechanics are kind of boring. People aren't. That's not why they're watching. Yes, there are probably a few people who are watching actual plays or listening to actual plays
To learn them.
to learn the game system. But most of the people who are watching them, that's not why they're watching them. I went back and looked at our numbers for old actual plays. Some of those numbers are very, very high. Ghostbusters LA game, 15,000 downloads.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
that's huge. There's not an episode of this show that has that many downloads.
No.
Oh, I'm sure.
The Inukai game, how often we do have combat in the Inukai game? Once every 4 sessions?
Yeah, maybe.
5 sessions? And most of those were Ayujitsu duels. There's not an episode of Inukai that's under 10,000 downloads.
Wow.
Yeah. Jib's Sturmgeist game,
Yeah.
most of those are over 10,000 downloads.
Jeez.
Yeah. But you look at some of the
Wow.
you can see the games where there's a lot of game mechanics and a lot of fiddly
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah, it's hard to listen
and you
to.
can look at it. You can see it in the episodes. You can
People
see
are
it-
driving and they're like, I kind of want to hear the story play out. I really don't want to hear them arguing over dice for an hour and a half.
right.
Well, and that's why I had
Well,
forgotten
hopefully
that
there's no
because
arguing over
you had mentioned that, and I commented because I was watching the Redemptions on one of the
Right.
games we were playing, and I said, "Yeah, we were really steady. It just dipped a little bit during this part," and you're like, "Oh yeah, there's combat."
When combat started.
I'm like, oh,
Yep, when combat
yeah.
starts. That's
Oh,
why
yeah.
one reason that Moment of Truth, the combat system, I mean, combat goes fast. It's done in like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
With 4 players, it's pretty quick. So, you know, if you had some supernatural monster, that might be a little longer, but for the most part, no, it's
Hey,
meant
when
it's
I'm
meant to go
playing
fast.
my MMOs, I like to wipe them out as fast as you can so you can get to the goal to get to the destination.
Exactly.
And I think
Right.
it's that mindset
Yeah.
isn't that much different than the people playing games.
When
So-
I'm playing Deathwatch, I want to get rid of all the Tyranid as fast as I can so I can get to the landing zone
Yeah.
and get picked up.
But then this is just kind of, and I know we've strayed a little from this, but there is something kind of fun for a while for you, even like for me, if I'm going to play GURPS or I'm going to play, you know, about taking a little bit of time with the combat so that I can
yes.
utilize all of the pieces of my little pretend person.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And also so you understand the combat system well
Yeah.
enough to be able to leverage the stuff on your character
Yes.
sheet to its best
Because otherwise,
ability,
what's the
right.
point?
Right. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's a tactical thing too. You shoot your bow and
Yeah.
retreat, shoot your bow and retreat, shoot your bow and
Right.
retreat, or you stand there and take 3 rounds and aim, or
Yeah.
or you. Well, obviously my arrows aren't hitting him. What if I take the arrows and cause an avalanche? Right. So now you're looking around, you're scanning it, and it does it
Mm-hmm.
at a time. But that may be a little bit different, I think, than actually just fighting
Yeah.
by attrition. You know.
Right.
And even that gets to a point where you're like, I give up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want that to go on for 3 hours.
But I mean, people are gonna talk about. They're gonna love what they're gonna love, and they're gonna want to talk about it.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I don't know why we should be shocked. People like certain
That
foods,
was-
Oh, yeah.
and they were always trying to preach. People like
No,
certain
it's-
authors and certain
Yep.
genres. And
Well,
they're-
even you go on comic book or movie forums, and
DC and
I mean,
Marvel
people are
or
going to argue about, or
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Avengers with Jam.
yeah, this arc
I
of
used to go on homebrewing back during, what was it, alt.rec.brewing or whatever it was, and it was on Usenet, and I was very active in that. This is a long time ago, back when I was a homebrewer. Oh, the flame wars they would get into about homebrewing,
Oh.
about making beer.
barbecuing.
Oh,
my God.
Oh, my God.
yeah. So I mean, it is out there.
I thought I'd try
all kinds of, all kinds of hobbies. And you know,
Paint.
certainly the rivalry in sports teams,
Yeah.
it's already out there. I mean, and even games. I know people that loathe basketball. I happen to of the
Yeah.
sports. I actually kind of like it, but people are like, why tennis? I like tennis, but
I like soccer. I like watching soccer.
I
do too.
I find that pretty boring, actually. But
What I like watching is when is the World Cup, when it's
sure,
Zimbabwe is playing South Korea.
sure.
That's cool, because seeing that whole international thing, I think, is awesome. But
Anyway, so I don't know why we act surprised when people, take sides when it comes to
That's
games.
kind of a good point.
But we do. We are still shocked that people
Yeah,
don't like
well,
this.
and people shouldn't have to be dicks to other people.
Well, yeah.
But-
maybe that's the
what
takeaway
are we
is
supposed
that-
to do if we're naturally inclined to be dicks?
Right?
I mean, hypothetically.
And and if you really like something, you got to be
For
a
a
dick
friend.
about it.
Asking for
Asking
a friend.
for a friend. Yeah,
All right.
that's a good point.
I think is
That's a good
are we
letter,
still
though.
streaming?
Oh, we should be. I had it up on the.
Just look at the status.
We're bouncing. Where's the status at?
It's that little thing on the bottom right side. Mm-hmm. Is it green?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the chat room has not said anything, so maybe they all fell asleep.
Oh, they were in there because I had it there because I was checking redemptions.
They're all
and
fighting
stuff.
with each other.
But yeah,
Oh, there's a lot of people in there, but they're
Yeah.
they're not talking. All right. So
I'm seeing stuff move here. So
Is that a
maybe.
skunk I smell? You might have a skunk nearby.
Ugh,
I do. That is
that
a
keeps
skunk.
happening
Yeah.
to me and Pedro.
Either that or someone's got some nasty bud.
I saw compressed hop dice. Yeah, they're dice that are compressed hops with like little bronze. I don't know what you call that.
Filigrees or-
filigree on the.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it made me think where the pothead dice with the
Yeah, the
compressed-
Bud dice.
Where can we get the hemp dice?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna crush their fucking the hops dice and smoke them, man.
So
but-
No, just
stems and seeds.
stems and seeds.
Yeah,
What
there
else
you
are you going to use them
Yeah.
for? Just make them into pot concrete and make little
Yeah.
stone pot dice.
Yeah.
Stone dice.
So you no idea, right there. There you go. EasyRollerDice.com. Get on that, would you?
Look up the hop dice, though. It's weird. I can't imagine. Like, they have to be so light. They're even if there's
Oh, yeah.
compressed hops, they'd just be like,
That's why you got to mix them with a little bit of concrete
yeah.
or lead. Or
I'm
lead.
sure it's plastic.
Yeah.
resin.
Don't chew on them. So Vampire 54. He says, is Stu ready for a sold out Gen Con? I don't know. It
I
probably
can't
will be.
imagine.
People, and
I
you're going to be
didn't-
surrounded by thousands of them.
It's the worst time of my life. I didn't realize it's the 50th Gen Con.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a big deal.
Oh yeah.
So
Tom, stop licking the dice. The hemp dice.
oh yeah, it would piss you off if someone like
Dude, those are my good dice. They always roll high. Oh, you suck.
well, they're high now.
Nice.
See, it writes itself. You got to
Yeah.
make hemp dice, Easy Roller, because you know
Yeah.
you want to roll high all the time.
Yeah.
Buy our hemp dice.
Hey, it'll be legal in the state.
You
of
can
California.
legally roll
It'll be
high.
legal in the state of California with a doctor's note.
The highest rolling dice
Well,
you can
January
get.
1st, right?
It's now.
Next year.
Oh no, it's going on
Oh,
now.
no,
I
the
think.
doctor's note.
With a doctor's note.
But yeah.
With a script.
Yeah. But the forever.
Oh, that starts. Yeah, I think that
January
starts next year.
1st.
Yeah, I'm gonna if I hadn't signed up for any games for Gen Con, I'm gonna do games on demand.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go into the I was going to say the solicitor's room, but that's a different place. That's in Washington D.C. off of K Street.
Just the
dealer's
word
room.
solicitor's
The dealer's
room
room.
actually has a lot of baggage to it. That's almost a weaponized word there,
Right.
solicitor.
The dealer's room
Mm-hmm.
at Gen Con, because I want to meet and greet as many game publishers as I can.
Oh yeah.
I want to try to get some interviews. What I would like to be able
Oh,
to do
awesome.
is at the end of every, like the weeks after I go on the Friday night shows, is okay, I'm going to play an interview with this guy. And the next week,
Absolutely.
here's an interview with this guy. And then I'll put them at the end of the shows.
Yep.
So people we'll stream them and put them on
Yeah.
the podcast. But I figured that would be a nice way because I can get persistent to make people talk to me. I don't have a press pass though.
You're a journalist.
I
Come
don't
on.
have a press pass though.
I'm sure you could get one.
Well,
Well,
they're
you probably should have
out.
to apply, yeah,
they're
yeah.
probably out of them now. Usually, you have to get that stuff like 6 months. in
Okay.
advance.
You could go in and go, "Oh, I applied. What the hell? Did you lose it? Look, I'm part of the podcast.
Do you know who I am?
And they'll right one and give it to you.
No, they won't.
No one listens to this podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
They
I
didn't
know the
hear your
dealer was.
cunning plan.
I'm anticipating spending somewhere around 40 to 50% of my time in the dealer room because I want to go and talk to the. Well, everyone I can talk to, I want to go and talk to them. So
And
Yeah.
remember to pimp your game, too, while you're at it.
the what?
Remember to pimp your game while you're at
Yes.
it.
I might. I have plans for that. I'm not sure exactly what's happening. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Yes, I've met Ken St. Andre at Strategicon a couple times. Great author S in the forum. Yeah, he comes to our he
Yep.
comes to our cons occasionally. I know Shane won't be in the dealer room, but Bill knows him very well, so I'm sure I can get him.
Yeah, Bill. Yeah. If Richard Garfield's there, tell him I said hi.
Okay, I'll tell him Stork said hi.
Cool.
All right,
That'd be
So-
awesome.
and then so that's my plan.
That is this coming week?
This next
You
week,
leave.
I leave. I fly
Wednesday?
out, fly out Wednesday morning. Yeah.
Wednesday through Sunday,
Yeah.
right?
I've
Cool.
and then I've got. I think we were talking about doing a listener meetup Saturday evening. It's got to be early because I have an early flight out on Sunday morning. So, but I'm not sure what that's going to
Cool.
be yet. We probably need to decide that pretty soon.
Yeah.
For those of us who are going to.
Yeah,
Gen
yeah.
Con. So if you're going to
Schedule
Gen
it.
Con,
Yeah.
and you would like to meet,
Maybe start some on the forums.
No, I won't ask for a hug. Don't worry.
Stu's not a big hugger.
But if you want to meet, because I'd love to meet as many listeners as I can. Join the forum, come on the forum, and let's figure out where and when we can do that. People have been talking about Saturday evening. If that's not a good time, I'm fine doing it. I'm not signing up for any gaming. The only event I want to make sure I go to is Angry GM is going to be doing the GM Word of the Week. He's going to do a live one.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to sign up for. I have to find my badge. My badge is. I think I had already packed it in my carry-on, so I don't lose it. But I get to put my badge number in to be able to sign up for that.
Cool.
So, but
And
that's
then the week after you go to Strategicon.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh, that's right.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes,
And we'll leave it at that.
And then I will stop spending
Yeah.
money on conventions.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very
That's
much.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will end this.
I will end you.
Oh wait.
Why problem make when you no problem have you don't want
Your
to
dogs
make?
are barking at the sky.
See, that was the best thing for that letter too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for season 20, episode 1 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Gina.
I'm Stork.
Thank you. See you next week. Dave, CA Dave will be hosting,
Yeah.
and
Mystery
possibly
guest.
someone else. Hopefully, they can get it figured out.
Right. You won't be here.
I won't
I'm
be
at
here.
a wedding.
Dave got it.
Dave's got it.
We'll see. Also, Sunday is Mode of Sin, and then Monday is
Masks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll leave with a song.
Bye.
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.
Very well, my lovely Dinah, 1,000 times adieu. We're going away from the holy ground and the girls that we love true. We will sail the salt seas over and then return for shore to see again the girls we love and the holy the secret of my mind, my love. You're the girl that I adore, and still I live in hopes to see the holy ground once more. Fine girl, you're the girl that I adore, and still I live in hopes to see the holy ground once more. Fine girl, you are. Now the storm is raging, and we are far from shore. The poor old ship